saying that last Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I'm just not real. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. See, welcome to 7 minutes inside of me. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. That was an ambiguous impression on a Tuesday, okay? Because you're like, Evan, that was borderline. I don't know what that was, but you couldn't really specify. Sometimes I feel. Don't even know what accent that is. I fucking made it up, okay? But ladies and gentlemen, I got news for you. Pick up. Hello? Hey, it's reality. The world is ending. I hope not. I kid, ladies and gentlemen. You hope I'm kidding. I hope I'm kidding. Here's the thing. The world won't end, but we just might as a species. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time on the 7 Minutes in Evan podcast, welcome, rejoice. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It helps the podcast. Now that is out of the way. The end of the world isn't near. Ask Miss Cleo. Okay? How crazy is that? Someone took up ad space to just predict people's future. She would just say shit like a fucking magic 8-ball. I actually really wonder how accurate was Miss Cleo statistically. Because that's the thing. How accurate was Miss Cleo? This has to already be out there. Doesn't look like there's a lot of information. Oh, okay. So financial scams. She's getting a documentary, apparently. She got caught in a fraud scandal. Now there's an investigative documentary on her. Oh, for the next generation of future seeings. Claiming to be a shaman from Jamaica, Miss Cleo's charisma and famous imperatives enabled the Psychic Readers Network, a pay-per-view call service, to charge callers seeking answers over $1 billion for advice. Wow. How much money did she make? Oh, she passed away. Bless her heart. She was great, though. Miss Cleo. You know what? That's the thing. People just need some confidence in their life. They just need to be inspired and have someone else tell them that this is going to happen. Okay, we're all looking for it in movies. We're all looking for that motivation. We want someone to tell us we're doing good. Someone just to be like, this is what you're here for. That's why I think religion is the dopest thing if it works for you. I remember talking to a pastor when I was young because your boy liked dinosaurs. And I was at Sunday school. I think this is the story. I remember getting this answer and being like, the fuck? But I asked, what about dinosaurs? And I've done this a couple times, but when I was a kid, I was told dinosaurs, God put dinosaur bones there to test our faith. Huh? What? That God put dinosaurs in the earth to test our faith, to see how loyal we really were to him. Hey, God, don't be so toxic. It's kind of toxic, God, to be like, hey, that's like being in a relationship with someone. And you're like, listen, I love you and I'm loyal and I'm committed. And then you spray yourself with perfume and put fucking lipstick on your collar like a 90s commercial. And you walk in the room and you're just like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, what's on your collar and why do you smell like another one? You're like, I'm testing your faith right now, you know? That's the equivalent of that statement. Also had someone mention, well, there was in the Bible mentioned numerous times about terrible lizards. Dude, I ever see a T-Rex, I ain't calling it a terrible lizard to describe it. T-Rex walking around the neighborhood, you think I'm just gonna be like, hey, just so you know, be careful out there. There's a terrible lizard. Oh, there's a terrible lizard? Where's it at? You can't miss it. Bigger than telephone poles. Okay? It just ate the fucking neighbor's dog. And the neighbor. But it's a terrible lizard. Maybe something a little descriptive. You know? Thou shalt not just describe it as a fucking terrible lizard. Anyway, this is, what are we doing here? Okay? What are we even trying to say right now? Listen, the point I brought up religion is because it helps people with guidance. Some people, you know how dope it would be? It's terrifying to be like, I'm on a spinning fucking planet and I just gotta figure this out. But how dope is it if you can just be like, you know what? God's got a plan for me. Big man's got it all figured out. And I just gotta stick to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, baby. Ha, chamauna. And God's gonna set me up right. Lord works in mysterious ways. And you just always have that to just fall back on. God will get me through it. And I saw it this weekend in the UFC. Bryce Mitchell. If you didn't watch UFC 272, it was a great card. Head to toe, bottom to up, ass to balls. What? Stupid. But Bryce Mitchell is this driven young fighter. I love him. He's from Arkansas. He's fucking proud of Arkansas. He has his own farm, raising cow. He's got chickens. He's got a little pond. He goes fishing. I want to be his best friend. And one of the things that he does is he's super driven on a mission from God. First thing he does is he thanks God after the fight. He prays. He got on the ground. He says, I want to say a prayer with you to the other fighter. I know you're a God-fearing man. And he's on this holy mission to just be a good person and to inspire people. And through that faith in the Lord, he's able to accomplish so much. It's such a great thing to be able to lean on in him. Beautiful. I'm happy for him. Okay. Do I believe in God? I don't know. It ain't the book one. I feel like we've talked about this recently. It ain't the book one. The Goosebumps version I've read, it ain't that God. It ain't the one that's like, hey, I'm a jealous God. Don't you be fucking worshiping other gods. You know what that sound like? Some crafty charlatans who tried to keep a society controlled. That's what the Bible felt like. Be like, hey, thou shalt not do this. Like, hey, it's good words to live by. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the Bible is a great tool for how you should live your life. You look at it as a book of metaphors and a standard for being a good person. It's not terrible things in there. Some of it's a little outdated, you know. Some of it's a little outdated. Come on now. I gotta point it out to you. How did we even get there? Oh, Miss Cleo. How do we even get on Miss Cleo? Listen, that should go to show you we don't always have a direction with this. All right. But Miss Cleo was so dope, and I feel like it's confidence. You could say whatever you want. You don't have to be right 100 times or every time. You just got to tell people what they want to hear. And you just got to be really vague with it. It's so easy to be a Miss Cleo. I don't think you could really do it now. There's too much out there, but back in the day, you could just you just wing it. Be like, I think that you're going to make a lot of money. Be open to blessings coming into your life. And that was Miss Cleo's thing. She would just be like, the thing that has been bothering you, you will see the sunshine again. That's what you do, is you just speak in metaphors. That's the greatest thing. Listen, your boy has been in the t-shirt game. We're coming up with phrases and things. It's always the simplicity and the vagueness that sells. Sun's out, guns out. Just even chill on a shirt. You get too descriptive, you back yourself in a corner. You're going to get yourself, it's too specific, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be a little bit too, So you just got to be like, listen, You have been in the darkness for a while, but the lights will be turning on soon. And then someone on the other line is just like, the power did go out a couple weeks ago, and I'm ready to have electricity again. You know? I should start a fucking hotline. I'm fucking ready for it. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are doing good this beautiful Tuesday, okay? Had a great weekend. Speaking of things that you can get away with that you couldn't, that doesn't work now, I watched the show, The Worst Roommate, I think it's called. The Worst Roommate Ever. I think that's the name of it. I should probably figure it out. It's a documentary series on Netflix, a show. Yeah, The Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix. And what it basically is it talks about the worst roommates ever. In the sense that these people that you lived with were trying to murder you. And here's the sad thing. They usually did. That's what's terrible about these shows. Listen, my fiance loves crime shows. She loves murder. She loves mystery. And, you know, every other Sunday we pick something to watch in bed. It's real fucking cutesy. It's real fucking cutesy. Your boy's a real cutie patootie on Sunday mornings. All right. It was her weekend to pick. So we watched The Worst Roommate Ever. And it's normally not my cup of tea. I find mystery and stuff like that very thrilling. But I get too emotionally invested when I see any kind of harm done to innocent people. I'm not saying I'm Batman, okay? But I get angry. I feel for it. Like the whole Epstein Island thing, I couldn't watch that. I watched like 5 minutes. I was like, I can't fucking watch this shit. It's like, it makes me too angry. And The Worst Roommate Ever, it's like mind blowing. First of all, it's terrible because what ends up happening is these people see an ad for a roommate, or they make an ad for a roommate. Some stranger moves in, and over time things get weird, and that person ends up murdering them. Or like this one episode where the lady just is a serial killer, and she kills people that are homeless or no one really knows about, and then she keeps collecting their social security check while they're dead, and she just buries them in a backyard. It's real fucked up shit. But it blows my mind at what people could get away with. And this lady, it was crazy. She would dress up like she was 10 to 15 years older. Like she would try to look like an old lady when she really necessarily wasn't. And she would be a good person in the community. She would donate clothes to the thrift stores and all these different charities and all of that. You come to find out that the clothes that she's been donating are the clothes of the people that she murders. She comes and she's like a boarding house halfway home. She'll have them live with them, and then she'll poison them. She'll drug them, rob them, and bury them in the backyard. And it was crazy because what made me realize you couldn't necessarily get away with this stuff as much anymore is because she kept changing her name. She was arrested for being a prostitute. She was arrested for being a madame, which is like a lady who runs a brothel. And then she was arrested for basically roofing a guy, paralyzing him, and robbing him, left him alive, he was there paralyzed, took his ring off of him, and just left him to die. And he recovered, and then she got arrested for that. But then she just moves to a different place and changes her name. And then since the police departments at this time, and I want to say the 80s, I want to say, they didn't have the internet. It's so insane, the stuff that you could get away with because there was no internet. There was no real database. You had to go into a fucking actual place, a police department, and be like, I need your files from 1970 to 1980. And you got to fucking have a movie montage and go through all these old files and and there's the cut scene where you're getting a little coffee from the styrofoam cup, and there's and then the wife or the husband comes in and puts another pot of coffee next to them, and they're like, oh, thanks, honey. And then they're just fucking going through all the papers. That's what you had to do. Now, you just type a name into a database, and it's oh, you gave me all the access to this person, all their aliases and everything. And another crazy thing, the crimes The crimes that some of these people would do that are like older crimes, there's no way you could get away with it. Like the guy who just dragged a girl to his car, drove away, dropped her off on the side of a highway. Like now with all the cameras that are in public area, what is it? Closed circuit TV, whatever it is, where all the light poles and everything, they all have cameras on them and they can use it to find out when cars would go back and forth and everything and identify them. It's just so much harder, you know? Not that I'm planning on, murdering people. I mean, not right now, but thinking about like Western days, you didn't like someone, you just, hey, let's walk around this building for a second. And then you just walk inside and then everybody walks out there and they're like, somebody shot him. And then everybody's just like, well, who was it? I don't know. All right. And that's what you just went back to life. You kind of looked at the hole and you're like, it was a pistol. Who's got a pistol? Everybody. All right. That's it. It is right away. And then even like wanted signs. How terrible is that? They would just draw people. I didn't get a good look at him, but he looked like this. And then they would just sketch somebody. And then all you got to do is either shave your beard or grow a beard. Shave your head, grow your hair. That's it. Depending on where it was, you just ride your horse to a different fucking city. You're done. We talked about this before in the podcast, but back in the day, you could just up and leave your family. You didn't want them anymore? Think you're paying alimony, child support? Nah, you just get on your fucking horse and be like, hey, Thunder, we're doing it again. Yeah. And the horse is just like, meow. Just so stoked to go on an adventure again. Horse is like, we're starting over. Crazy shit, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I started the entire podcast to talk about this. When I was talking about the world is ending, Miss Cleo, figure it out. I did something I shouldn't have done last night. I watched randomly on YouTube before I'm in bed. I'm laying down. Your boy's starting to wind down. Listen, I've been watching the show Succession. Might be the best show on television. Succession. Such a great show. I love the way they shoot it. The camera, the story. It's beautiful the way they weave the theme song in through the episodes. It's great. The actors, everybody in it, phenomenal. Listen, Macaulay Culkin's little brother, phenomenal actor. Kills this part. I haven't seen him in anything else, but he kills it. He looks like a mix between Tobey Maguire and Macaulay Culkin. It looks like they had a love child, and Macaulay Culkin's little brother came out. I don't know his first name. No disrespect. But I've been watching it, and for some reason I go on YouTube for a second because, I got the app on my TV, and I just go, what's on? And you know what? It pops up? A nuclear war simulator. And I'm like, what is this? And that's how you know you're becoming an old man, is whenever you start watching things on lions, rockets, helicopters, planes, history, war, or nuclear war. Okay? That's when you know you're an old man. As soon as you start caring about any of those things, it's over. Childhood's over. All right? Childhood was over a while ago. But there's just like, I'm in the old man group now. All right? It's a matter of time before I get grumpy. Okay? I put on this nuclear war simulator. Worst idea ever to watch before bed. Okay? Because then I'm just laying there with these thoughts about nuclear war. But basically, this nuclear war simulator, if you want to look at it, just type in nuclear war simulator on YouTube. It's like a 5-minute video. It's got like 4 or something million views. Came out a year ago. And it starts by explaining how a nuclear war could happen. And it has a map of the world laid out. And it just shows, okay, let's say like between Russia and the United States, nukes start firing off back and forth. Even with like our defense systems and everything, what would happen? Catastrophic. It starts showing the hits of where it would land in the United States, things going off. And it starts showing the death count of within the first 12 hours first 24 hours of a nuclear war. It's goddamn terrifying. The hundreds of millions of people that would die within the first 24 hours. Within the first 6 hours. That's what was crazy is it starts talking. I'm like, oh, this is the first 4 fucking hours? This is already how many people are dying just by nukes going off? Listen, I knew that nuclear war was a terrible thing. I did, but I didn't realize the extent of how quick, how wild it would be if we really got into a nuclear conflict. And not only that, it shows where all the hits are. And then you're dealing with the radiation after. Okay, so it goes through the whole immediate 24 hours. And then it's radiation sickness that everybody's getting. And then with the atmosphere and all this fucked up shit from radiation, now we have a nuclear winter. Then we go into a point where it's like minus 30 degrees and you have ash and all this terrible stuff. And it's like, start showing the death counts based statistically on the hardship of surviving during a nuclear winter. Listen, we're talking 6 months later, we're dealing with this nuclear winter. And it's like, it made me realize how terrifying it really is to live in a world with nuclear missiles, especially when you're currently in a conflict with a man who has nuclear missiles. And this person is being drained of all their resources and getting backed into a corner. It's, I know I'm trying to be funny about it, but it's actually pretty terrifying and your boy's fucked up over it. It made me realize, be like, why we got to wipe these off the table. What is it called? MAD, MAD, mutual, what is it? What is it? Someone say it. Someone yell it. Mutually assured devastation. I think that's what it stands for. Or mutually assured disaster. Anyway, basically what it means that if we got into a nuclear war, it's going to be mutually terrible for everybody involved. There's not going to be a clear winner of, a nuclear war. So that was great to watch before bed. It just got your boy thinking. And basically, I've decided if you're going to be in a nuclear war, you want to, because you always think like, oh, if a nuke hit the United States of America, maybe if I'm on the other side or I'm far away, it'll be, survive. You know where I want to be? I want to be standing on the bullseye of the nuclear missile target. Like I want to be right there. I want to see it just go, and I want to literally jump for it. Because I'm like, get me out of here before the nuclear winter. Because it all comes down to being cold and your boy doesn't fuck with it. Okay? Listen. Nuclear winter. No thanks. You always think you want to live in an apocalypse? I don't know. Okay? Because it's just... Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. We're adapted people. We're survival. In an actual situation like that, you rise to the occasion, and I'm here for it. All right? But a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, I'd love to live in a zombie apocalypse. We are so soft from technology, from having AC, from having heaters, from having grocery stores, from having society and vehicles and gas. Dude, if gas stations shut down, we wouldn't figure out how to make fucking gasoline. I'm going to be pissing in my goddamn fuel tank, just trying anything to get it going. All right? I'm about to, dude, and don't even get me started with these fucking gas prices right now, because your boy's about to just become a fucking walker. Okay? I'm about to only do things that are in a 1/4 mile radius. All right? Or I'm going to get a goddamn scooter. And I'm not like, I'm talking like a Razor scooter, not even a, motorized one. But I'm just going to be riding a fucking Razor scooter everywhere because gas prices are getting out of hand. Okay. Shit's wild, ladies and gentlemen. Shit's wild. Nuclear war simulator. Got your boy just thinking. Let's change the tone of this. It's got way too dark. Yeah, talking about how the world's ending on a Tuesday. But you won't, but it's not all terrible because the new Batman movie came out. Okay, the new Batman, the Batman, if you will. Listen, there's been so many different names for the Batman. The Batman Begins, Batman Rises, Batman, The Dark Knight. Dark Knight's actually a great name for a Batman movie. The Beginning of Batman, Batman Beginning. It's, you get what I'm getting at. I saw the new Batman with Robert Pattinson. Sorry, Rob. I went into this when I first saw that he was Batman. I was like, huh? All right, well, okay. And then they were making it sound like it was an off-brand Batman. Like it's not going to be the story of just a regular Batman movie. There's spoiler alerts for the rest of this episode. So if you haven't seen The Batman and you don't want to listen to a review, check out now. Okay, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And I'll see you next week or on Thursday. Remember, no matter what, I still love you. Let's get into the Bat talk, ladies and gentlemen. The Batman with Robert Pattinson is the best Batman movie that they've done. Okay? It's hard to compare movies from different eras because that's all they had to work with. But the story that they told in this Batman and the way they pulled it off, just the way everything looks, glorious. Penguin is in it. I kept flashing back to when Danny DeVito was Penguin, and I'm just like, dude, those movies feel so campy and so corny compared to the current Batmans. Even the Christian Bale Batman, which I think is great, it felt so different than that one. It's almost hard to not make Batman feel cheesy, in my opinion, just by nature of like his suit is always just, it looks like he's always uncomfortably awkward and just like, I'm a bat, you know? But the story is phenomenal. The spin that they did on the Batman is great. Like their take on it, of it being a newer Batman. He's only been doing it for 2 years. And I love that they never said, I'm Batman. Because it's just like, we've heard that in every movie, and they opened it up with it just being like, I'm vengeance, which I thought was fucking dope. I was like, okay, great. You're trying out different names. We haven't got to Batman yet. Phenomenal. Also, the intro where they put the bat signal on and it's just scared everybody, and they were like, fear is a tool, you know? So my voice is already hurting from trying to do this voice. And they were like, they're always afraid of me, that I'm in the shadow. And then he goes, but I am the shadow. Beautiful. Beautiful. I loved it. It was kind of an emo take on Batman as well, Robert Pattinson, which I think it's kind of weird that he was like, you know, Twilight came out and he was like a vampire and now he's Batman. So it's almost like a continuation of him just like getting his life together and becoming Batman after the whole Twilight shit. But I feel like Robert Pattinson doesn't get the respect he deserves as an actor. Okay? Listen, The Light Tower, if you never saw The Light Tower or The Tower, whatever it was, The Lighthouse, it's the most confusing movie of all time. They got a mermaid pussy in there. It's strange, okay? It was a very deep and dark movie, and they wanted to have symbolism and everything. It was one of those movies where, I think the director did something, and then people speculated on the deepness of it and gave him way too much credit for it. I don't know if they meant to have so many different metaphors, but it almost felt like a choose your own adventure, that the movie meant whatever you wanted it to mean or whatever you wanted it to mean. But I feel like Robert Pattinson doesn't get respect because of the Twilight movies. And it's because I think that women went so crazy about him as Edward that guys shut off to him. They were like, oh, you're just like that fuck boy, I don't know, like that boy band Bieber Fever dude that, like Kid Bop magazine cover, all of that shit. I feel like he just didn't get respect. as an actor. I could be wrong, but I think he's grown out of it, and I think this movie solidifies him as a phenomenal actor. And just the portrayal, I think he's going to win awards for this because he was the best Batman. He didn't do an over-the-top voice. He wasn't stiff. He was true to the character and his interpretation of the character, which I thought was great. And they didn't have the stereotypical scene where I don't know how many times I've seen his parents walk out of that movie theater and get shot down in the hall in the alleyway. And the pearls and everything, every dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. You know, like we've seen that so many times, and I'm so happy that they made a fresh Batman. They didn't just constantly keep making the same movie over again. Oh, here's the origin story. Like every time it just got established, you know? So I thought it was great. If you haven't seen The Batman, I highly recommend it. They set it up to be a cool universe. I think there's more possibilities of other movies, which I hope they do. I hope Robert Pattinson gets at least 2 more movies. I'd love to see a trilogy of this Batman, you know? And Catwoman's in it. Hey, meow is all I'll say about that. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope it helped you pass some time. Okay, made you think about life, made you think about Miss Cleo, made you think about the Bible and the terrible lizards. Okay, made you think about nuclear war and what you would do in that situation. Truthfully, if the nuclear war happens, try to be where the nuke hits. Because you think an apocalypse is going to be cool, except when there's radiation. Except when there's radiation. Because then it's not like, you know, some of these apocalypse movies and The Walking Dead, they always have like hot women in it. And they're always like making love and everything. And it's just like, wow, you could just start over. You just have this new apocalypse wife. But you're not going to want one with radiation. I'll tell you that right now. Okay? You don't want it. So ladies and gentlemen, hug your loved ones. Take that chance. Go eat that food. Live your goddamn life today, because with the nuclear war, the next 24 hours is always never promised. And remember, no matter what, I still love you.